is great in terms of the coalition. And very nice this evening. There are other people, we didn't discuss this, but there are other, unsung heroes in Connecticut. The Andersons of 7-Eleven, who've been given to the community for over 20 years. The Remmers of Snapper Inn, who was part of the Connecticut Friends of Connecticut, who has been quietly doing something. We have many, community members, and many people that none of us know about. I know we have Idle Hour Beautification. The teachers, retired teachers that are giving back, been doing it for over 20 years. I'm just giving you a quick list of some people off the top of my head. In doing this, maybe you should reach out to the community. I can't imagine around Bohemia, business owners and or just community members that give back. That could be a viable part of the coalition.
The intention was to put a nomination form onto our new website to have people nominate our community of excellence. This kind of sounds like unsung heroes, volunteers, and how people give
The
back.
Andersons aren't involved, but they're business owners that have been giving to the community in one form or another in terms of their coffee there. But they're there.
Mm-hmm.
They've been there for the community for over 20 years.
Great.
And the Snapper Inn, well, you don't really know about Mr. Remmer, what he gives back, but he does give back to the community. You wouldn't know that. I know that. He doesn't give it to the district, but he gives it to the community.
Okay, perfect. That would be something that would be wonderful in the nomination.
Yeah, because I'm sure there are many others throughout Connecticut. So just bring that to your attention.
Perfect, thank you.
We have curriculum and instruction.
I brought that in also. I've been speaking to some teachers in other districts. Comac, and I know you've been there. Some teachers are pretty critical of Connecticut, which makes me sad, but we are moving slowly, and thank you to this administration that we are moving. Comac got rid of the they started doing curriculum writing, changing the modules. Then they got rid of the modules, and they're writing all their own curriculum. So basically, what I'm saying is maybe it's time, or I can use Mrs. Losing's word, let's find a district that we can model after, send our teachers there with administration, look carefully, and write the best curriculum we can write. It doesn't have to be a module. I think it would make the community happy, but it doesn't seem like the modules are working. So if you could look into other districts, find the right districts. I looked at what Marlon said in terms of the regions with the SATs.
Average SATs.
We're right in the middle. I looked at all the ISM schools. They're basically in the middle. And I believe we can, really at Port Jefferson, whatever they're doing, they're a Suffolk County school and not a rich area, but they're already at the top. Now they're in the top, I think, 15. I think we can grow there, but I really think we have to look to see what works and make sure our teachers are involved in making it work and go into the school, to the schools of choice. That's a premier school that we want to emulate. So if we have to invest more money in that, I believe that's where we should be investing our money in our teachers and in writing curriculum. The best curriculum we can possibly find in Suffolk County or Nassau County. Preferably Nassau County.
Do you have any input on this, Steve?
Is that particular curriculum we're talking about? Because curriculum is a very broad word.
Well, Steve, can you touch on a little bit of what?
Well, modules aren't working. You all know that.
So we're discussing the modules?
No, not just the modules. Module is what we're doing in essence. But can the module be written by the district in terms of looking at other districts that are successfully have rewritten the modules into their own language and teaching Common Core?
So, just, you know, in reference to that, the state has put out 2 separate module packages, one for ELA and one for mathematics. The ELA modules don't fit in a traditional elementary classroom. We do use parts of them throughout the K through 6 program, but not as our primary resource for the ELA modules. The math modules are different things, something that I have mentioned in previous discussions and presentations. We have, you know, elected to use it as a primary resource. I do appreciate the feedback from the CTA. We're reaching out to them based upon the survey that they did of their teachers to be able to disaggregate data a little bit more. But you know, we are in the process of looking at what other places are doing. We have worked with COMAC. We did a site visit with COMAC to Jericho schools to see the programs that they're doing. We've been in contact with Half Hollow Hills, Bay Shore, COMAC, and Lakeport Blue Point as far as some districts making transitions from one resource to another. So we have started that process from the administrative level. We will be presenting a plan for next year as we move forward for specifically mathematics and what that will include. Modeling it similarly to what we did with our literacy team this year. Again, you know, it's really important for us to understand the work that our teachers have done, and they've done tremendous work within their classrooms over the past number of years. From a historical perspective, the modules were here as a tool in a teacher's toolbox prior to both Mrs. Adams and my arrival.
They weren't looked at though.
They were done in a variety of different ways. There was an interim assistant superintendent who did put a plan in place of using it as a primary resource for K2. That was the beginning of my first year here, and you know, instead of coming in and changing something that I don't totally understand as far as the what is being done in Connecticut, it's important to, you know, understand the history and honor the history and look to move forward that way. So we did a full year of study. We did a tremendous amount of work over the summer, revising and listening and creating those feedback loops. We did with all of our CTA leadership as well as many of our teachers throughout the district to provide feedback. We made improvements. We made the recommended changes, and we're going to continue to do that. But you know, it's at a point now where I'm proud to say that our teachers, the elementary teachers, their capacity to not only be able to teach mathematics, but also to be able to evaluate resources is at such a high level. And this is an opportune time for us to open it up to see what other resources are available to our teachers, whether it's a combination of modules and another paid or purchased resource. That's something that we will discuss, you know, openly. It's really important that the practitioners in the classrooms are the ones that are driving the conversation, and they're the ones that we're, you know, making sure that we're creating those opportunities for those feedback loops to exist.
Now, is there going to be a lot of curriculum writing over the summer?
We do have curriculum writing in a variety of different areas. We're in the process right now of going through that. But as we move forward, no matter what program or what resource we adopt, look at, decide to pilot, work is going to be needed to be done because nothing is written specifically for New York. When the Common Core standards were put into place, New York was given a provision that they can add standards, which they did, and it's something that is going to take a tremendous work from our administrators and our teachers to make sure that the sequences are correct, make sure that the order is correct, and you know, and that's the process that we'll go through next year.
Someone said that like so ditto was going out. Is that part of it? You know, the modules are units of study, and we have used those units of study as the primary resource for this past year, and with the teachers being able to supplement from other resources that the district has purchased, as well as resources that they found on their own. So we've used a collection of different things, but again, going back to the professional development that we've done, you know, the first year I was here, it was a strictly pull-out purpose.
where we were building the capacity of our teachers, and they've done an amazing job. This year, the focus was less pullouts, almost no pullouts for our math teachers, but embedded instruction, and embedded instruction in a really, really unique way that I don't think any other district's doing. And the way we did it is that teachers on a grade level at a specific building will be meet individually with the staff developer. Because each building has its own culture, each grade level has its own culture, and it's really important to honor that and to be able to create those environments where we have small groups of teachers working together and they feel free enough to talk about what's happening within their classroom. So that staff development has been going incredibly well, very well received by our instructional staff. I'll forward you feedback from, we take feedback sheets from each of those experiences, and I'll forward those to the board for their review. But,
and the feedback is from the teachers? Feedback is from the teachers?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
So we're very happy with that. It reduced the amount of pullouts for our teachers, and it provided that kind of, embedded, on-task, specific type of staff development that we need.
And I like the scores in the regions. Apparently, there wasn't much of a change. You didn't take the test or took the test. You think that will continue? You're not seeing a difference if kids haven't taken the test for X amount of years?
No, I think because our teachers are doing an amazing job in the classroom, making sure that the instruction is there and making sure that students are reaching those grade level expectations.
That was interesting to see.
With all due respect, Dean, and please don't take any of this personally because I understand you have a job to do, but how long is this process going to take? I know I've spoken about the modules all year long, and first it was a process of, let's see what's going on, we have this plan, the director, this, that, everything. Again, we're going to put together a plan, and we're going to try to have it maybe use some of the modules. The parents have spoken in the fact that they have 76% of them opted out of the test, which part of that, a big part of that, is the modules and the test taking. And now the teachers have spoken with a survey that says 80% of them don't want to use it as a primary resource in their classroom. At what point are we just going to step up and scrap this and move on and come up with a better plan? Do we need to take a vote to force the issue, to come up with a better plan for you to put together something that includes other resources or a book? I mean, I brought the modules with me tonight because I don't know if everybody's seen them. This is what they look like. They're bland, they're dull, they have mistakes in them. This is the book I use. It's not perfect, but it engages the children. It has resources for the teachers to use what they want. They can pick and choose. And I know, again, I don't want to, this isn't about you. This is about something that I believe in. This is about the children's instruction. This is about so much more than, I understand things take time, but the more time we keep doing this, the less chance we have to put something new in place for September. We are running out of time. I'm ready to take a vote right now to say, can you please put together a plan for something including, and if you need to go speak to the teachers in that period of time before we come back here again and meet with the CTA, whatever you need to do, to come back with a plan that doesn't include the modules as the primary resource, that includes something else with some sort of resource for a kid to put in their hand that can help the kids, help the parents engage, have some sort of online resource where parents and kids can go to when they're home, that teachers can use in the computer labs. I know that there are many things out there, this one in particular that I happen to, and I'm not supporting this one, it's not the best thing out there, I understand that. It just happens to be what I use, but it has a tremendous component that the special ed department in my school district uses to spiral the kids backwards, and pick up where they're deficient in their skills, and the lower kids in level kids in my classroom do the same thing with it. There's just so much out there that brings so much more to the table. I just can't sit here anymore and allow these modules to be just this topic of conversation that to me is just, and I understand they were here before you, and again, to me, this isn't about you. You're doing your job, I get it. You're trying to communicate with everybody and bring everybody together on a cohesive piece. I understand that, and I appreciate that. And I think it's a testament to your teachers that all the professional development that you guys have done has increased their ability to teach math, not these modules. These modules have done nothing to increase their ability to teach math. It has been your input, their input, and all the professional development that goes along with learning how to teach the Common Core, as we have to use now, and all the things that go along with the modules. Not this. This hasn't helped the teacher. And if it has, I don't know what to tell you. But I've been doing this 17 years. I've been an elementary school teacher. This is garbage. And I'll sit here and say it. I've said it before. And I'm really tired of saying it. I don't know what to do at this point other than to ask for, I don't know if I can ask for a motion to take a vote to come up with a plan to move forward in a different direction without using the modules. I don't know how that works, but I'd like for administration to put together a plan that doesn't include using the modules.
Just as a caveat.
You cannot introduce a.
So we can't do it at this meeting. We have
But
to.
you can bring it forth to administration for the next meeting, but you're not supposed to be introducing.
So we have to wait 2 more weeks.
I want Dean to respond to this.
Sure, Dean can respond. I'd love to hear what he has to say.
You know, Dean, you and I
It's not about Dean.
I know.
I don't want this to be
it's
about
not
Dean.
But
This is not
but
about
he should
Dean.
be able to respond to,
That's
what
fine.
you're to say.
You know, Dean, you and I had a positive conversation about this, and it wasn't focused on the modules. It was focused on different things. So can you please share that conversation?
There's tons of them.
You know, there's a couple of things I appreciate Mr. Ferrioli's responses and his passion for the resources. And I don't disagree in many of the things that he says regarding some of the deficiencies within the modules. You know, the parent piece is really lacking. It's something that we have talked about collectively. It's something that as we move forward, we will definitely look for a resource that's going to better support our parents. We've looked at a variety of different programs. We could very easily tomorrow purchase a program and move forward with that program next year and use that as our primary resource, while still being able to have the modules available to our teachers to use. That's something that is definitely possible to happen. My ultimate concern is, you know, it's a commitment versus compliance. You know, our goal here is that, you know, that we have opportunities to honor their voice, we have opportunities to bring teachers together, we have opportunities to review a variety of different resources to see what best meets the needs of our students and our parents and our community. And I don't think the time frame with this, you know, I don't think shortening the time frame allows for that really rich dialogue to exist and to us to make a really thoughtful decision about what's best for our students.
So,
That being said, we are, you know, whatever the board so chooses is the direction that we'll move in. But
Well, I understand that you're
I'd like to
doing.
hear what the teachers have to say. You know, you're saying the teachers are enjoying this, you're saying the teachers are not enjoying this.
no, I think we have a couple of different conflicting things. I was talking about the professional development piece, and that's the experience teachers are really enjoying. We have heard, you know, mixed feedback regarding the modules, you know, and that was evidenced in some of the work that the CTA put together for us. You know, and that's something that we've continued to hear, and that's something that we have consistently tried to address to make better, and we have made some progress in that. And I understand Mr. Ferrioli's concern about, you know, moving forward with something different as a primary resource, and that is a plan that we have going forward, that our teachers are at a place where they can make really meaningful suggestions and really evaluate resources for our kids. I'm not debating that part. I'm not debating that there are better things out there that are going to meet our needs better. My only concern, and you know, however you choose to move forward or elect or vote to move forward is fine with me. I just want to make sure that we provide the opportunity for our teachers to sit down, look at the variety of different resources that are available to them, and select what's best for our kids.
When would that happen?
Our plan is that would start in September.
So we would be using the modules for another how long a period of time?
We would be piloting probably in the fall of next year, different resources to evaluate them. If that's not a plan, if we don't want to move forward in that direction, and it's decided that we move in a much quicker direction, and we just select a program or resources and give that out, we can make that adjustment as well.
Can you do, I mean, I really like the teachers that takes ownership in this. personally. You know, rather than, I don't like dictating, but I think the teachers should take ownership with you, you know, and I think that they, whatever they choose, they would use and be happy with rather than being dictated to. And it used to be dictated to in this district, now they have a voice. I don't want them to lose their voice, so is there anything that you can do to expedite this by any chance? Over the summer maybe?
Yeah, I will meet with Mr. Tessio and Ms. Rizzo, and we will rework our timeline, and I will have it ready for you hopefully by the end of this week.
So, Dean, the conversation you and I had earlier was in regard to some form of teacher college. We're not going to get teacher college, but we're going to get some form of teacher college that complements that program. How is that used with the modules? Would that overtake the modules and you would follow that program and exclude the modules?
So,
or is the modules used as a timeline mainly, but the actual program that you're looking at is the main focus?
So the ELA modules are used throughout our district and sporadically. Mostly what teachers do is they take items that they feel are appropriate for their grade levels, and that's what they use. The ELA modules are not meant, they're not designed as the math modules are. They are very long, in-depth units that don't give students an opportunity to look at a variety of different texts. So we don't use the ELA modules as a primary resource in the elementary schools. And the work of the literacy team this year is moving in a workshop model, centered around the philosophy of a writers and readers workshop.
So I understand that they're doing this at Sycamore, and they seem to be very pleased.
We have a variety, we have pilots going on in many different buildings.
So, so have you joined together these different pilots and got
Yeah,
the
so we
teachers
had
together?
we had a literacy team last, so we have a literacy team that is comprised of a primary and an intermediate teacher from each building. They've met 5 times this year. I wish Ms. Poppy was here because she facilitates those meetings with Ms. Abraham. They have been incredibly productive. We've been able to identify some of our non-negotiables, what are the areas of instruction that we think are
I
important.
believe you brought that up here a few months ago.
And I can have a report to the board to the end of the week as well regarding a summary of that.
So are you leaning towards a teacher college type program?
We're leaning towards a readers and writers workshop model. So that's the direction we're going. And right now we're evaluating, the last meeting they were evaluating resources.
Okay, and then as far as the math goes, Singapore math is one of the things you had mentioned today.
COMAC and us visited Jericho to look at the resources that they use. They use a program called Math in Focus. That's what COMAC is transitioning from modules to Math in Focus. We went to Half Hollow Hills. They use Envisions.
Well, what does Jericho use?
Jericho uses Math in Focus.
Oh, they do, okay, sorry.
COMAC, Bayshore, and Bayport Blue Point all were modules and transitioned to Math in Focus.
So that's where, that's what I was hearing, so I see you transitioning, but, not the way, not tomorrow.
It could be at the board's discretion of how quickly.
Is it a cost?
There's a cost to everything. I think there's associated professional development cost as well as the initial cost for the resources.
Are the teachers buying into this program that COMAC is using? Have you spoken to them about it?
We have not yet spoken to them about the rollout of the staff yet.
So what do you think of their program at Jericho, the Math in Focus?
I think both Mr. Tessio and myself, as well as Ms. Rizzo, feel that what we want to do is make sure that the work that our teachers have done has been honored, and we're able to have a transition that is smooth for them. And so there are a couple programs out there, a couple resources out there that do provide that smooth transition. One is the one that Mr. Ferrioli was holding up. The other is Math in Focus.
Well, Mr. Marioli is not impressed with Go Math. I would not
I
be.
didn't say I was unimpressed with it, I didn't want to make it like I'm trying to push Go Math. It's just what I happen to use. The Math in Focus is actually done by the same company at a different level. It's a higher level than Go Math. So that's, I just didn't want to seem like I'm pushing, but that just happens to be the one sample that I have because I.
You know, and to go back to the survey that we were provided for by the CTA, you know, I think the last question is really interesting, and it's something that, you know, we would like to have further dialogue with our teachers about, is that, you know, would you like to have a combination of both modules and online textbooks and decide on what works best for your students? And the response rate was yes for 63% and no for 33%. So the use of the module to continue as a resource for our teachers, but to look at other options that are available. It's just, you know, at this point, it's deciding how quickly we want to move forward.
Essentially, wouldn't the modules then become an online resource because they're online? Where if we purchase another resource, we're not going to continue to bind and put together all the modules for them to sit on shelves for half the people to use them.
I think the reproducible portions of it would not be needed.
But this is a
Yeah,
process.
the online portion.
So basically,
All of our modules are available online for our
Would be an
teachers
online-
right now.
Yeah, would be an online resource. Yeah, because I'm sure there's teachers that still want to use parts of it.
And I, you know,
can you put something out for the teachers to respond to, you know, in order to maybe expedite this or how they feel? I don't know the questions or the answers. You know.
well, I'm going to reach out to the CTA to see if we could disaggregate the data a little bit further and kind of, you know, tease out some of the things to use that data that they.
I think you're doing a great job. And as long as the teachers take ownership, that's I just believe in that. They take ownership because I saw it in Literacy Collaborative a number of years ago when that started, and then it was taken away. But I never saw teachers galvanized when they did that point. Actually saw them walking in and out of that central office and the excitement going on in the schools because they were part of the change. I think that's what you're trying to do.
Can we have resources here before the end of the year for
We have resources
dissemination
already.
into the buildings, so teachers can at least thumb through them and look at them and get a feel for maybe some of what the book looks like and what they might feel comfortable with, things like that. I know that's a stepping, you know, point.
So I'll put together an accelerated timeline and I'll have it available to you by Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Okay, we're moving over to public comment. Step up to the podium, address the board president only.
Can we, I think we have people, the students that have to get home and get to bed. Please.